I'm learning Cherokee because it's endangered. And that's no coincidence. It's the result of more than a century of U.S. policy. Earlier in this series, we told you the story of allotment, how the U.S. divided up Native territory in Oklahoma and then opened it up to white settlers. The whole process was meant to take our land, but through it, we lost so much more. And over 100 years later, we are still living with the consequences. Today, Cherokee Nation is struggling to save our language from going extinct. And we're fighting to save our water and air from toxic ruin. This episode, I'm going to tell you these stories. These aren't stories that you'll recognize from the Murphy case. They weren't part of any of the briefs or the oral arguments, but they are some of the reasons why this case matters. Right now, we're asking the Supreme Court to affirm our treaty rights and to uphold the promises that were made to us, because we know what happens when those promises are broken. You're listening to This Land, a podcast about broken promises, tribal land, and murder. This year, the Supreme Court was supposed to decide whether half the land in Oklahoma is Indian country. But in a shocking twist, they postponed their decision until next year. The fate of this land still hangs in the balance. From Crooked Media, I'm your host, Rebecca Nagel, citizen of Cherokee Nation. Before allotment, Cherokee Nation ran its own schools. Our public school system was bilingual, and classes were taught in both Cherokee and English.
When they got here after the Trail of Tears, Cherokees built over 100 schools in Cherokee Nation. They became the finest schools west of Mississippi River.
Cherokee students had a higher literacy rate than their white neighbors. But in 1898, in the lead up to Oklahoma statehood, Congress passed the Curtis Act and abolished tribal schools.
They closed all our schools. And when those were closed, we just lost that.
The government came in and took control. Overnight, the very schools our tribe had built went from teaching the Cherokee language to punishing the students who dared to speak it. Cherokee was John's first language. When he started school, he didn't speak English.
What I remember is you had to be able to speak English. When I first started, the teachers would tell you something and you didn't know. And there were several of us in that classroom that was the same way. We didn't speak English.
Oklahoma's public schools started pushing English-only education in the early 1900s. But well into the 1970s, public school teachers punished Native kids for speaking their language.
Spelling, and if you didn't know how to spell, they give you a paddling. If you didn't know how to spell, depending on how many you missed, that's how many licks you got. That's how we were treated. We didn't know how to speak English, so every one of us would just be, we were silent, didn't say nothing.
Parents who were punished for speaking Cherokee didn't want their kids to go through the same thing, so they spoke English at home. Today, the youngest fluent Cherokee speaker is 38.
A lot of Cherokee speakers still left, but I never realized that it will be like this. They're just, we've lost a lot of them.
Today, there are an estimated 2,000 Cherokee speakers in Oklahoma. Most are John's age, over 60.
45 speakers that we lose in a month. That's the ones I know. Just the ones I know from being a young man and some kinfolks. So 4 or 5 a month that we lose.
Unless we do something about it, and soon, Cherokee will no longer be spoken after the year 2050 by anyone.